Hello, you're watching Movie Snapshot Scenes, and this is the summary of RoboCop 1987. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Detroit, dying. The city of Detroit, once a shining beacon of American industry, has fallen into chaos. Crime runs rampant, gangs control the streets, the justice system is overwhelmed, and behind the decay, a corporation waits to take control. Omni, Consumer Products, OCP, a powerful conglomerate with plans to privatize the police and rebuild the city into their corporate dream. Delta City, OCP, doesn't care about justice, they care about profit. And when they take over the Detroit Police Department, they treat officers like assets, expendable and replaceable. Enter Officer Alex Murphy, a dedicated cop recently transferred to the city's most violent precinct. He's tough, sharp, and committed to doing the right thing. He's partnered with Ann Lewis, a skilled and fearless officer who quickly sees that Murphy isn't like the others. He's hopeful, still believes in the badge, but Detroit has no room for hope. Murphy and Lewis pursue a notorious gang led by the brutal, psychotic Clarence Bodicker. The chase leads them to an abandoned steel mill where Murphy is ambushed, surrounded, and outnumbered. The gang mocks him, tortures him, and in a horrifying scene, they execute him, shooting him mercilessly, piece by piece, until he collapses. Murphy dies in agony. The city shrugs, but OCP sees opportunity. Behind closed doors, the corporation has been working on a solution to the rising crime, a new kind of police officer, part man, part machine, a cybernetic enforcer who doesn't sleep, doesn't question orders, and never stops. Murphy's broken body is claimed by OCP. Without his consent, without regard for his family or his humanity, they erase what's left of him and rebuild him as a product. They call him RoboCop, a symbol of law, a tool of control, a weapon. But under the steel, something still remembers. RoboCop is unveiled, a marvel of engineering. Cold, precise, ruthless. The press swarms. OCP executives smile. The police force watches in awe and fear. For them, RoboCop isn't just a new weapon. He's a reminder that even heroes can be replaced. Behind the visor, Murphy is gone, or so they believe. RoboCop patrols the streets of Detroit with brutal efficiency. He doesn't eat. He doesn't sleep. He doesn't ask questions. Programmed with 3 prime directives: serve the public trust, protect the innocent, uphold the law, and a hidden 4th directive unknown to even him, RoboCop becomes an unstoppable force against crime. He breaks up robberies with mechanical precision, stops assaults in seconds, dismantles criminals like a machine made for war. The media loves him. Crime drops. OCP celebrates. To the public, he's a savior. But inside the machine, something stirs. Faint flickers of memory, visions of a house, a wife, a son, a name. Murphy. RoboCop begins to dream. And dreams are dangerous. He returns to the house Murphy once called home. It's empty, abandoned, for sale. But echoes of a life remain. Family photos, birthday videos, laughter turned to ghosts. RoboCop touches the walls, confused. Something inside him aches, though he doesn't know why. Meanwhile, OCP's rival project, ED-209, a massive bipedal enforcement robot, fails spectacularly during a boardroom demonstration, killing a junior executive in front of stunned witnesses. Yet Dick Jones, the ambitious and corrupt OCP executive behind ED-209, isn't done playing dirty. He sees RoboCop as a threat to his control, and he plans to eliminate him. As RoboCop continues his patrols, he crosses paths with Clarence Bodicker, the very man who led the gang that murdered Murphy. The encounter triggers something deep within RoboCop, a memory, a flash of pain, recognition. Murphy is not gone. He's trapped inside the steel, the circuits, the code, and now he wants justice. RoboCop begins to break free from his programming, piece by piece. Not just a tool, not just a product. A man, reborn. The steel begins to crack. RoboCop is no longer just a machine following orders. He's remembering. The flashes of a past life come faster now. A name, a face, a voice calling him Alex, the face of a wife, the laughter of a child, the pain of death, and one face, above all, burns into his memory. Clarence Bodica. Murphy's humanity pushes through the programming, and RoboCop begins to investigate his own murder. He accesses the police database, violating his directives, hunting down the names and records of Bodica's gang. One by one, he tracks them through the decaying streets of Detroit. Justice is no longer mechanical, it's personal. RoboCop corners and takes down gang members with cold precision and rising rage. He interrogates them, demanding names, connections, answers. And when he finally confronts Clarence himself, he discovers the truth hidden behind the crime. Bodica isn't just a street thug, he's protected, backed by Dick Jones, the powerful OCP executive and creator of the corrupt ED-209 project. Suddenly, RoboCop tries to arrest Jones, but he can't. A hidden failsafe activates, Directive 4. It locks his body, crashes his system. He stumbles, falls. Powerless Directive 4. Any OCP executive is immune to arrest by RoboCop. It's not a safeguard, it's slavery. Jones reveals it all with a smug grin. RoboCop was never meant to serve justice, only OCP. And now that he's disobedient, he's disposable. ED-209 is unleashed. The mechanical beast opens fire, raining down missiles and bullets. RoboCop is forced to flee, barely surviving, damaged, and hunted. He escapes to the only person he can trust, Officer Ann Lewis. She finds him hiding in the shadows, sparks shooting from his shattered armor. But his eyes, Murphy's eyes, are alive. Lewis doesn't see a robot, she sees her partner. As she helps him repair his body, Murphy begins to repair his soul. He was stolen, rebuilt, erased. But now, he remembers who he is, and he's coming back, not as a product, not as a cop, but as a man with a mission. Hidden in an abandoned factory, RoboCop begins to rebuild, not just his body, but his identity. With Officer Lewis by his side, he removes his helmet, revealing what's left of Alex Murphy, scarred skin, haunted eyes, and the first real expression of pain. Not from damage, but from memory. He's no longer confused. He knows who he is. And he's not just hunting criminals anymore. He's hunting OCP. While Lewis helps him reprogram his systems, Murphy prepares for war. His targets, Clarence Bodica and Dick Jones, the men who destroyed his life, then used his corpse to sell a product disguised as justice. Bodica, growing desperate, is summoned to OCP headquarters. Dick Jones gives him one final task: destroy RoboCop. In return, Jones promises control of Detroit's underworld once Delta City rises. Clarence accepts, assembling his gang for one final strike, but Murphy moves first. He attacks their hideout with unrelenting force, dismantling Bodica's men one by one. Explosions rip through the warehouse. Bullets fly. Steel meets flesh. Murphy is brutal but not cold. He gives them chances to surrender. He still holds onto a shred of what made him human. Bodica tries to escape, but Murphy corners him. This time with no helmet, no mask. He wants Clarence to see him. Murphy, the man he murdered. With no mercy left, he ends Bodica for good. But the war isn't over. Murphy turns his sights to the source, Dick Jones. Armed with proof of Jones's crimes, Murphy storms into OCP headquarters. Executives panic. The board is shocked. Jones takes the president hostage, thinking RoboCop can't touch him. Directive 4 will stop any attempt. But then the president fires Jones. You're fired. The directive vanishes, and RoboCop fires. Jones crashes through a window to his death, ending the corruption at the top. The room goes silent. The president turns to RoboCop. Nice shooting. What's your name, son? RoboCop looks him in the eye. Murphy. He walks away, not as property, not as a machine, but as a man who reclaimed his soul in a city that tried to steal it. Dick Jones is dead. The corrupt architect of Delta City has fallen. But Detroit is far from saved. The city bleeds. Crime festers. OCP, though wounded, still casts a long shadow over the streets. Without Jones pulling the strings, power struggles erupt inside the corporation. Greedy executives scramble to secure what's left of their empire, but something has changed. The people have seen RoboCop, not just as a machine, but as a man. The myth of the unfeeling enforcer is shattered. Alex. Murphy is alive, and his existence sparks whispers across the force, across the city. The idea that someone could lose everything and still fight back gives hope. Officer Lewis recovers from her injuries, standing once more beside her partner. Not as a soldier, but as a friend. She sees what no machine can be programmed to: show, compassion, will, choice. Murphy, now aware of who he is, moves differently. He doesn't just follow directives, he follows principles. He rebuilds his armor, not to serve OCP, but to serve the people. His face is still cold metal, but behind it is something no code can replicate: a conscience. Still, the road ahead is uncertain. Rogue factions still roam the city. The remnants of Bodica's syndicate scatter like rats, but they remain dangerous. And though Dick Jones is gone, OCP's ambitions live on. The company's dream of Delta City has merely been delayed, not destroyed. Murphy begins working with honest officers again, inspiring them to stand up, to fight back, to take back their city, one street at a time. The police, once discouraged and broken, begin to rally. A revolution doesn't need an army. Sometimes it only needs a symbol. Murphy doesn't sleep. He doesn't eat, but he remembers. He visits the graveyard, where his old name is etched in stone. Alex J. Murphy, killed in the line of duty. But that name isn't just a memory anymore, it's a promise. Detroit may not be healed, but it's no longer abandoned because he's still out there. Not for revenge, not for glory, but for justice. Detroit breathes, but it still bleeds. The streets remain cracked. The people remain afraid. The system remains fractured. But among the ruins, one figure stands tall, towering, silent, watching. Murphy, not RoboCop, not property of OCP, but a man. Protector. Though the corporate machine still grinds in the background, Murphy no longer walks its halls. He roams the streets, his streets, patrolling not because he was programmed to, but because he chooses to. The badge on his chest is no longer a symbol of control, but of conviction. The citizens begin to believe again. Children wave as he passes. Shopkeepers feel safe when he's near. Criminals fear the heavy thud of his footsteps. He isn't flashy. He doesn't make speeches. But his presence changes the air, like a storm waiting to strike. Meanwhile, within OCP's tower, the vacuum, left by Dick Jones, festers. Executives still dream of Delta City, of domination, of profit. But now, they face a problem they can't control, a product that thinks, a machine that feels, a ghost in their system. They try to replace him, reprogram him, trap him. But Murphy is no longer theirs. He's evolved beyond steel and software. When a corrupt SWAT unit is ordered to assassinate an honest police captain, Murphy intervenes, without orders, without backup. He stops them, not with excessive force, but with purpose, with restraint, with justice. And in doing so, he proves something vital to the people and the police alike. He is more than his body. He is humanity reborn in the shell of technology. One night, under neon lights and falling rain, Murphy visits his old neighborhood. The house is gone, demolished by developers, but he stands in the empty lot where laughter once echoed, where a family once lived, and he smiles, a small, quiet smile. He's not just fighting for justice anymore. He's fighting for memory, for the soul of a city, For every person told they could be replaced, Detroit is still broken, but not hopeless. Because as long as he walks its streets, there will be justice, there will be consequence, and there will always be Murphy.